and welcome to Factory Floor Fields, latest episode number 6. If you're new, welcome, and if you're a past viewer, I'm glad to see you again. This is a show where we talk about real manufacturing problems, real shop floor mistakes, and more importantly, how to fix them without pointing fingers or throwing anyone under the bus. Today's episode is called Training Without Ego, Building Operators the Right Way. And if you've ever been trained by someone who made you feel dumb, invisible, rushed, or like you were in the way, this one's for you. Let me start with a simple truth that too many shops forget. A trainer is supposed to be a guide, not a dictator. A trainer is supposed to be a teacher, not a gatekeeper. A trainer should act as a bridge between SOPs and real work. And most importantly, a trainer should understand why, not just how. Because here's the reality. A trainer's job is to build confidence and competence, not fear. And yet, we all see the opposite. I've been around a long time. I've seen all kinds of trainers. I've seen trainers who thought they were above training, like showing someone how to do the job was beneath them. These are the ones who talk down operators, act annoyed by questions, and treat training like an inconvenience instead of their responsibility. Then there's the other extreme. The trainers who technically were assigned to train, but you never actually saw them. They were in witness protection or something. New operator shows up, trainer disappears, and the operator is left trying to figure it out by watching whoever happens to be nearby. And then, very rarely, you see the unicorn. The trainer who actually cares. The trainer who wants the operator to succeed. The trainer who remembers what it felt like to be new. They do exist. They're just rare. So the real question is why? Why do we get such wildly different training experiences inside the same company? Well, I'll answer that for you. It goes back to leadership. There should be a standard that is taught to all trainers, and then our friend accountability comes back. Trainers should be held accountable for the result of the operator's training or their training. Let's be honest about how most trainers are selected. They're promoted because they're fast, they've been here forever, and they know the machine. None of those things automatically make someone a good trainer because that often happens. What often happens next is they can't explain why something is done. They skip steps because it's obvious to them. They get frustrated when trainees ask questions. They say things like, just watch me, instead of actually teaching. And that's not training. That's demonstration without understanding. And here's a line I want the plant managers and supervisors to really hear. When training becomes about control, production and quality always lose every time. A good example of this is a trainer we had in a molding shop I worked in. He was the best operator I had ever seen. And I figured he's going to be a rock star when it comes to training. He did, but after he trained one operator, she was damn good. but was always complaining she was waiting for the machine. I noticed she wasn't pressing the door close button and just waiting on it to cycle. So I told her about it, and she really started making the machine hum then. See, the trainer could run it well, could get good numbers and make good parts. I had run it so long he didn't use the SOP, so steps were skipped. Now let's talk about the hidden cost of ego in training. Ego shows up in training in subtle ways. This is how I do it. I've always done it this way. Don't worry about it, just do it. Engineering doesn't know what they're talking about. Ego creates fear. Fear creates silence. Silence creates mistakes. And mistakes that aren't talked about become quality issues, safety issues, and downtime. If an operator is afraid to ask questions during training, you've already lost. This part makes some people uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. Bad trainers don't survive on their own. They're enabled. Here's how. There's no trainer standard. There's no feedback loop. There's no evaluation of trainer effectiveness. Trainers are never trained on how to train. And this is the mic drop line. Most shops train operators, but never train their trainers. Think about that. We'll spend thousands on machines, tooling, software, and automation, but zero time teaching the people responsible for building the next generation of operators. What good trainers actually do. Now let's talk about what good looks like. Good trainers. They follow the SOPs, but explain why. Adjust to different learning styles because everyone's different. They encourage questions, even the dumb ones, because one that wasn't asked is the dumb one. Admit when they don't know. Partner with supervisors, quality, and maintenance. Create a safe space to fail during training. Because training is the only time failure should be expected. And here's another good truth. A good trainer wants the trainer to eventually be better than them. That mindset alone eliminates ego. Too many shops rely on personality instead of structure. Good training should not depend on whether you got lucky with a good trainer. It should be standardized, documented, supported, reviewed. That's how you remove ego without drama. All right, let's take a quick pause. I've been talking enough about that. If you've ever been trained by someone who said, just don't touch that, without explaining why, if so, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button. If you've ever learned more from the operator next to you than from the actual trainer, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to make sure you never miss out on another episode where we talk about the stuff everyone thinks but nobody says out loud, and see if we can find that witness protection trainer, go ahead and hit that notification bell. I promise. No pop quizzes, probably. All right, let's get back to the meat and potatoes. There's another piece of this puzzle that gets missed all the time, and that's where HR and trainers' responsibilities intersect. HR has a role in onboarding a new operator, introducing them to the shop. The policies, the expectations, the basic safety culture, the paperwork, the who's who of the building, That's their lane. But once that new operator hits the floor, the responsibility shifts. At that point, it becomes the trainer's job to make that person part of the shop, not just someone who works there, but someone who belongs there. And that's a responsibility that should be taken seriously because training isn't just about showing someone how to push buttons or load parts. It's about passing down standards, habits, attitude, pride in the work. That's why being selected as a trainer shouldn't be seen as a burden. It should be seen as an honor. You're being trusted to mold someone who may one day run the cell, lead a shift, replace you as you move forward in your career. Good example there. I started at a shop working on the tools, $1 million tools, and then worked my way up to become the supervisor over those same guys. Same thing here. That perspective changes everything. When trainers understand that they're not just filling a role, but building the future of the shop, ego naturally takes a back seat because suddenly it's not about you anymore. It's about what you're leaving behind. And yes, the workforce is changing, but let's be honest about how it's changing. The younger generation coming into manufacturing didn't grow up the same way many of us did. A lot of them didn't have a dad coming home every night talking about the shop he worked in. The machine went down. The supervisor that drove him nuts, or the 1 hour long commute through traffic just to get home exhausted. Some of them had parents who worked in offices, high rises, remote jobs, different worlds entirely. And because of that, many young people today don't come into a shop wanting to work in it. They come in wanting to run it or run away from it. That's not a criticism, it's a reality. Out in the country, sure, manufacturing and trades may still be one of the few solid options, but across the board, the trades, they've taken a hit. Since 2008, trade schools have closed, apprenticeships have declined, technical programs have been cut, and the result is simple. Experienced technical workers are at a low. That means the few experienced people are left to carry more responsibility than ever before. If training fails now, there isn't a deep bench to recover from it. Every bad training experience pushes people out faster, creates more rework, increases safety risk, shrinks the future of talent pool. That's why training without ego isn't a nice to have anymore. It's survival. Because the shops that adapt, that train with patience, structure, and respect are the ones who will still be standing 10 years from now. Think about that. So, if you are a plant manager, supervisor, or operations leader listening to this and thinking, yeah, we've got some training problems, you're not alone. This is exactly what I help companies fix. I work with shops to build practical SOPs, standardized training systems, develop trainers without ego, reduce downtime, scrap, and turnover. And yes, I've helped plants increase production, improve quality, and save serious money by fixing training at the root. That sounds like something your operation needs. Please reach out. And if this episode helped you, even a little, subscribe, like, and share it with someone who trains people for a living. I'll leave you with this. Training without ego builds operators. Operators built the right way build great shops. And I'll see you in the next episode.